आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So before we begin the Mandukya and Karika commentary, just a couple of words just reminded me of the prayers that we were just doing. So the logic of this needs to be clear to us, the students of Vedanta. So it turns out that in terms of appreciating and understanding the whole creation, including the Creator, because the Creator and the creation are not separate from each other. This is an important thing we have to see, which is something which is very unique to our Vedic thinking. So, in order to understand that, we should see that Ishvara is both. Thank you. Yeah. So Ishvara is what is called both Upasya and Gyeya. So these two words are interesting. So Upasya and Gyeya. Upasya means one which needs to be understood in all of its creative glory. So Saguna Brahma is called Upasya. Upasana means mental prayer. It's a mental karma is what Upasana means. Well, we should see what the meaning of Upasana is in our life. How does it mean? It's nothing, it should not be seen as something which is strange or anything like this. Upasana means an appreciation of the person. Like, supposing you have a person in your life that you appreciate, and you appreciate to love. Like even a newborn child, how the newborn child smiles and begins to talk and takes baby steps. So how you appreciate it? My God, look at this person. He's talking. So this is an appreciation. And the appreciation leads to a love, really speaking, because you are appreciating the qualities of that individual. Could be a friend, could be a spouse, could be a child, could be anything, but your love for that person is protected. It is flourished by an appreciation. You mentally appreciate what this person is. So also the Upasyatvam of Ishvara. So Upasya is okay. So going back to the two words I presented earlier, which is upasya and jnaya. So upasya means an appreciation of the saguna, the gunas of Ishvara in the creation. I will take a couple of examples of that just to, that's not the main topic. I just thought that since we were doing the pujas, I thought that we will just mention that as part of that. So this is the upasya. Then the word jnaya. So the word, going back to upasya means worthy of your appreciation and love and prayers. This is what upasya means. Upasya doesn't mean just some simple quickly prayer and so on and so forth, but it means you're thinking about the gunas of the person. And to know the gunas, we will again take a little bit of an example in a minute. But let's go back to jnaya. Jnaya means one that needs to be known. And one that needs to be known is as a nirguna Brahma. Because the person is nirguna Brahma. The personality is the saguna Brahma. So the personality of the person needs to be appreciated and the person needs to be known. And here in doing this, one should see that yourself as a person and yourself as a personality needs to be appreciated. Yourself as a jiva. Because you are the creation of Ishvara. And in appreciating your own personality, not just the personality that means just the way you talk or anything, but the whole thing, physiology and so on. So these two are interrelated, both the appreciation of Ishvara and the appreciation of your own personality. And so this is upasyatvam. And then you have jnaya. And jnaya means that you have to know yourself as a person. And it turns out that your knowledge of yourself as a person and the knowledge of Ishvara as a person are non-separate from each other. At least from the standpoint of personality, you could see that this is a personality which is unique to me as a jiva. But as a person, it is really the same for both of them. So now let's take a couple of examples. And so this is what we need to do, really, in order for us to make progress in the understanding of Vedanta and ourselves and so on. So let's take upasyatvam for a minute. So upasya means the quality of Ishvara, the personality of the Ishvara, is what is given in all these Dakshinamurti stotrams and the Dakshinamurti Ashtottara, the various names and so on and so forth. Hopefully we will study it in more detail, but just to give you some ideas. Really speaking, your understanding of how your body is being maintained automatically is worthy of your appreciation. How your breath and the flow of liquids inside, and even the discarding of the waste products, how this is done, this should become an object of your appreciation. If you don't do that, then you are not really fully understanding the glory of Ishvara. Another thing you can see is that how all of the entire cosmos is in perfect harmony. The sun and the moon and the earth and the gravitational forces. Upasya. Then another thing one can appreciate, I'm just giving you a couple of examples just to prove what am I saying. It's not an exhaustive list by any means. Is the prarabdha karma. My goodness, the prarabdha phalam is just amazing. How the previous vasanas in your life, the leftover impressions of what you did before, how they influence your life, how thoughts occur to you, and how they are to be observed and to be enjoyed and to let them fulfill their course and not create new karmas. This is something that has to be seen. How the difference between new karmas, new kamanas, new desires, which create new vasanas, as opposed to just fulfilling the previous prarabdha, is something that has to be admired. And one has to really understand the very workings of it. The makings of the whole cosmos in terms of the various times of the day. The whole thing is nothing but upasyatva. And then when you do that, you begin to really appreciate the intelligence in all the things, the intelligence in the very core of your body, how everything is just self-correcting. Swasthya is just the endless list. Anyway, this is the upasya Brahma, Saguna upasya Brahma. Then comes the Gnyayatvam. And the Gnyayatvam is where it comes from the teachings of the Upanishads. And so there you have to know. So the Upasana tells you how beautifully the whole thing is being balanced, how it is kept together in a very nice way. The whole flow, your whole life, how the prarabdha karma, your future, all of that there is so much order in it. That is the appreciation. But in terms of the Gnyayatvam, now we have another way of looking at things because we don't understand, we don't appreciate the fact that you were never born. Just take one thing. It is to be known. It is to be understood. You are not a vastu that is capable of being born. The Chit Swarupa, the consciousness, is not made up of something that can be born. Ajam. Sarva Vyapakaha. And so on. And so all these have to be known. And the knowingness of yourself needs to be preceded by an appreciation of your personality and the Lord's role in it. So Saguna Brahma Upasana is essential for knowing the Nirguna Brahma. The Nirguna Brahma is so subtle, so different from what you normally think about. that your mind cannot even go close to it. Comes back and he says, I don't. So, when you say that I am self-existing, it doesn't strike you. It looks like just some words. That's it. So, in order for it to strike you, your preparedness of the mind has to be done through upasana. See, this is where the upasana needs to be appreciated. Even the word upasana needs to be appreciated, and then the upasya vastu, the very working of the Ishvara in our life, how it influences, how it works, it needs to be appreciated. And so, really speaking, it's kind of like, if you want to cook, you cook a dal, like all housewives will know this very well, you better soak it ahead of time. It's very difficult to cook a dal without soaking it. It'll take a long time. So the soaking is done by upasana. Then you are ready to cook it. So anyway, so that is that's something we should know about, is the upasya Ishvara or upasya Brahma and Gyeya Brahma, one that has to be appreciated through the workings and through so developing a love for it. And so love for Ishvara will not come until you develop an appreciation for his personality. Not possible. And so until you develop a deep love and appreciation for Ishvara, then your knowledge also will not. It's not as though somebody is blocking it. Your own mind will block it. It's all a question of the right way of approaching it. Anyway, just some separate commentary on that. Okay. All right, so what we were studying last time in the revision of the Upanishad, we, as you know by now, that Gaudapada's Karika intersperses with the Upanishad. So the first 6 verses were given that of the Upanishad. Then before the 7th verse, the Karika number 1 through 9 will be given. Then the verse number 7. Then some more Karikas will come. So this just a quick reminder of what the word Karika means. There is only one Karika in the entire Vedanta Shastra, only one. This is the only one. There are not others. But there is a Sankhya, there is a Karika, I believe, in Sankhya, but that's a kind of like a variation of Vedanta. We don't consider that to be Vedanta. So, but in Vedanta Shastra, in the Sampradaya of Advaita Vedanta, there is only one Karika, which is Gaudapada. So the Karika is, at least I'm just revising for your understanding, Karika is different from a Bhashya, which the Bhashyakara is Adi Shankara only. There's only one. Others have also written commentary, but in the honor that we give to the depth of Adi Shankara's commentary, his work alone is called Bhashya. So the Bhashya and Karika are different. Bhashya means that every word of the Upanishad is taken up and it is explained, then the interconnections of the various words in a sentence are also taken up and explained. So you cannot depart from it. It's very rigorous because you have to go by exactly what the Upanishad is saying. You may add some of your own comments to it in explanation, but your discipline has to be in explaining all the words. This is called bhashya. This is not true of the karika. So the karika is not constrained to go over everything that the bhashya, that the Upanishad is saying, and in fact it adds something to it that the Upanishad is not saying. And it can only be done by a person who knows it inside out. You cannot just, this is why Gaudapada, who is considered to be another avatar of Ishvara, all the rishis are avatars of Ishvara anyway. But his knowledge is so thorough that he is qualified to add some thoughts that the original Upanishad also did not mention in that particular point. Of course, if you could do a combination of all the Upanishads, it covers everything. But a given Upanishad may not cover everything, but the Karika can add something to it. Anyway, so this is the structure of the Karika. This is why it is so highly regarded. So now, let us quickly go through. We may be able to even finish all the 9 Karikas today. I'll do it rather quickly because you have the original notes to go by, or we may not be able to finish. We'll see. So, Karika number 1 says, Bahish pragyo vibhuhu vishvo vishvaha vishvahi antah pragyastu taijasah ghana pragyas tatha pragyah ekah eva tridha smritaha. This is the first Karika. So again, the central point of this Karika is that he points out that all the 3 things that we looked at that the Upanishad mentions, which was the waker, which is the Vishwa, and the dreamer, which is Taijasa, and the sleeper, which is Pragyaha, are really 3 things, 3 aspects of the same person. Ekaha eva tridha smritaha. This is the point that this Karika is saying. So here very much like that, supposing there is a man who is a father, who is a brother, and he is a son. So as a son, his personality is different. As a brother, his personality is different. As a father, his personality is different. But they're the same person. So similarly, you and I are a person that has 3 personalities: Vishwa, Taijasa, and Pragya. So Gaudapada reminds us, please don't forget, this is what is being pointed out. That's all. Ghana pragyas tatha pragyah eva tridha smritaha. There smritaha means that it is just known as, it is experienced as, it is felt as 3 different personalities. Like for example, when you're talking to your dad, you're completely different. That personality has nothing to do with you as a father. And so the way you behave with your father, and the way you address him, your attitude completely changes. And when you're talking to your son, then it's a completely different thing. So similarly here also, they may be completely different. So we should think about really, getting up in the morning and even during the day, your whole attitude should be very interesting. I am playing a particular role at the moment. This is an important thing for us to even begin to think about our lives. Why? Because our normal thinking is, when you are awake, this is my life. This is who I am. This is This is all I'm doing. This is the reality. You assign a certain reality to it. And we are told that this is not true. Not true. And how we should look at it is to say, to tell yourself from time to time during the day, waking up in the morning, going to sleep at night, unless you make some inroads into this way of thinking, how are we going to see that the whole world is mithya? Which is true, but I don't see it that way. So the way for me to see it is to remind yourself, my goodness, I am playing a particular role. That's not me, but I'm playing a role. I am a teacher, I am a student. This is a role that I'm playing. And then in a dream you are playing another role. And when you're fast asleep you are playing another role. So remind yourself, this is, I'm playing a role. And it doesn't seem like a role. Fine. But unless you make some, as I said, some inroads into it, unless you make an attempt into it, how are you going to finally understand? As they say that unless you begin to swim, you're not going to be a swimmer. You can say this is how you do it. You make this arm like this and this arm like this. But until you get into the water and you struggle, you're not a swimmer yet, but you're simulating this swimming. So similarly here also I have to simulate the fact that this is just a role for me. So this is what Gaudapada is saying. We should appreciate that. Not just words, eka eva tritha smritaha. But this is something that I have to adopt and live. And so this is the first one. Then, in Karika number 2, Dakshina akshi mukhe vishwaha manasi antastu taijasaha akashe cha hridi pragyaha tridha dehe vyavastitaha. So here Swami Paramarthananda points out that the number 2, Karika number 2, begins to introduce the value of Upasya Brahma, as we were just discussing. This is Upasya Brahma. So the first Karika was that please appreciate the 3 personalities. The second one says that now start connecting it to the samashti, to the cosmos, because they're all interconnected. Like for example, when a wave is being told that listen, you are really nothing but the various the water of the whole ocean, then he might take the wave a little while to understand it. And the way to understand that, he'll say, yes, I am surrounded by other things, but no matter what my role, what my form is, I'm always water. Yes, it's true. That is the unchanging nature of me. Similarly, it can say, wow, the whole ocean is moving around. It's a huge, unlimited kind of a thing, and the essence of the whole thing is also water. So it's connecting both the samashti and vyashti. So it takes a little while. In the case of a wave, it's very simple. But in our case, this connection between samashti and vyashti is not easy. So until we start to take baby steps again. So here it says, do it. So he says that, so this is a meditation, this is an upasana. One number 2 is an upasana. And so here he says, Dakshina akshi mukhaha vishwaha. So the right eye is where the personality of the Vishwa is manifest. It's just the way that you cannot really understand the very logic of it. But we can partially understand it because the eye is the one, unless one is born blind, the eye is the one that gives me the picture of the whole world. And so the right eye, and so this is also another way of upasana. So he says, Dakshina Akshi Mukhe Vishwaha, and then the Taijasaha is in your mind, which is more obvious, which is that, really speaking, the essence of all of your thinking, it comes back to your own mind, how the mind behaves. So, manasi antastu taijasaha akashecha hridi pragya. So, they say that inside the body there is the akasha, and this is where you are situated, in that akasha, in that formless vastu. This is where that formless vastu is, where you are situated when you are deep in your deep sleep. Anyway, so these are, and they don't have to be so specific. It could be anything. You can say that instead of the eye, the whole body is just nothing but the Vishwa. That's okay. But anyway, the main idea behind Karika number 2 is to initiate upasana, as we were discussing earlier also. So this is what it is. Then, in Karika number 3, Vishwo hi sthula bhuk anityam taijasaha pravibhikta bhuk ananda bhuk tatha pragya tridha bhogam nibodhata. So here the last ones, bhogam nibodhata, gives us the central theme of the Karika number 3. And the central theme of Karika number 3 is the experiences associated with the 3 personalities. What is the experience of each personality? Like, for example, in your personality as a son, the experience, the main experience is, especially when you're all, your father is very old, or mother for that matter, then your experience is that of being an obedient, helpful person. That's the experience. That's the essence of your experience. When you talk to your mom and dad, and they are very old, they are towards the end of their life, then your whole experience is that of what would be called namrata. Namrata means you're very soft in working with them. Whatever happens, you're tolerant. This is an experience. So similarly, these are the experiences. So, bhogam nibodhata. Bhogam, please know the experience to be threefold. So this is also part of the appreciation. As you appreciate the 3 different roles that you play, it is to be appreciated what kind of experience each of the roles brings. And that's pretty obvious, but it's just the way of looking at the subjugation, the segmentation of the 3 roles. So here in Vishwa, you're dealing with sthula bhuk. Sthula bhuk. That means that you are dealing primarily with things that are very obvious. Experiences are very solid. And when you shake hands with somebody or you give a big hug to someone, it's a physical contact. When you're eating something and it's hot and cold, it's a physical contact. And so what characterizes your Jagrat Avastha, pure Jagrat Avastha, because remember the waking state is mixed up between Swapna and Jagra. It's really remarkable, really speaking, when you think about it, that I would say the majority of your experiences, even in the waking state, is like a dream state. Majority of it. You are leading a life of your mind. You're looking at people, and yes, you're looking at the people, but what you see is your own subjectivity. Is that person is good or bad? And your memories of the person, your complaints about life, your hopes, has nothing to do with your body. Body you attend to when you want to take a shower, or when you're shaving, or you're you're brushing your teeth or something like this. It's a very small part of your life. Majority of that is just your mental. You're moving around in it's exactly like Swapnavastha. But anyway, the bhoga, sthula bhuk, is the experience. Then, of course, in the mental one, it is very obvious how you view yourself through the memories, fears of the future, likes and dislikes of the present. All of that is the Manasi Pravibhikta book. And then the experience of the deep sleep is Ananda book. Because, really speaking, any time, so this is an important thing which will come out later on also. The reason for any dukkha, for any kind of a problem, is duality. Duality. Whenever you view something that is different from you, that causes a natural problem for you. You don't have to. You don't even have to create it. It just happens automatically. And whenever there is non-duality, oneness, it causes sukham. And we will develop this later on, but in this context you can see that in deep sleep there is no duality. So there is no dukkha. There is no non-duality, there is no duality, there is only non-duality, there is only oneness. And so that is also like a proof. And so really speaking, whenever you, when you own something, this is mine, like even a child, how you have a love for your own child because you have imposed yourself on that child. This is me, this is my extension, non-duality. And fighting means duality. Or even non-fighting, but just looking at others as being, that's not me, I don't know who that is. Duality. Some tension. Is a very fundamental part of the teaching of Vedanta. So anyway, so here, just in Karika number 3, the experiences are being talked about. And here the appreciation is that a taste of non-duality is given to you, which is Ananda Bhuk. Tridha Bhogam Nibodhata. May you know that these are the 3 experiences. Then in number 4, Sthulam Tarpayate Vishwam Praviviktam tu Taijasam Anandascha Tatha Pragyaha Tridha Triptim Nibodhata. Triptim Nibodhata. So the difference between verse Karika number 4 and Karika number 3 is Bhogam Nibodhata and Triptim Nibodhata. So it's very similar to it's nothing completely different, it's just different aspects of it. Triptim means a sense of satisfaction and entertainment. Tripti. So Tripti means a sense of, in fact in the Panchadashi, I'm studying a chapter right now, 200 verses, beautiful verses, in detail. It's called Tripti Deepa Prakarshana. So it goes into the various forms of satisfaction in your life. Beautiful. I tell you, I'm appreciating Panchadashi like I've never done before. And so what a beautiful combination of Swami Vidyaranya and Swami Maheshananji, who has really brought out the truth in it. In some ways, I tell you, for the rest of my life, if I just teach all the chapters of Panchadashi, they'll be fine. I just love this. Just amazing. So anyway, that is a tripti in chapter number 7. I'm almost done with it. I'm almost at the, I think I'm verse number 150. I study 1 or 2 every day, whatever, just my own time. Tripti. So tripti here means that a sense of entertainment, a sense of satisfaction, not the general experience. So it's a specific part of the experience, as Swami Paramarthananda pointed out. So here, in fact, he says this verse is similar to the previous verse in content, but presented in a different language. The gross universe entertains the waker. The subtle dream universe entertains the dreamer. And the reflected happiness entertains the sleeper. That's all this verse number Karika number 4 is saying. Then Karika number 5. So here, obviously these are summary verses that have to be given as a promise. It's kind of like saying, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is what the truth is. Then you go into what is the details of it. Then you summarize. Like they say that in any good speech or any book, this is what should be done. You should say, here is what I'm going to tell you. Then you say what it is, and then you say, here's what I just want to summarize what I wanted to say. So here, this is the opening. In number 5 also, another opening summary is given. Trishu dhamasu yad bhojyam bhokta yascha prakirtitaha veda etat ubhayam yastu saha bunjano na lipyate. Same language is in the Bhagavad Gita also. This is a big leap from the previous one to this one. And so here it means that Now, having looked at the different roles and the different personalities and the different experiences and the different entertainment pertaining to the three roles, now the person is leading towards an understanding of the person behind the roles. And just starting that, he's just introducing it. It's a big leap. Going from personality to a person is a big leap. But he's saying, okay, now the person who understands that neither the bhokta nor the bhogya are in his person. Neither of them. That person now begins to take the baby steps for freedom. So, for instance, take your interaction with your parents when you are a person. So, in the interaction with your parents, which is a role, as we said before, your parents can present some issues to you, some problems. You know, no one is taking care of me. You are in the USA, as it happens to most of us. And then I took care of you all your life, but you've abandoned me. What is going to happen to me? And are you okay with it? Or those kinds of things. There's a certain presentation of problems to you. This is called bhogya. And how it affects you is the bhokta. Because when those problems by the parents are enunciated to you, presented to you, it affects you in a certain way. Because you start thinking, what should I do? And really what happens in most cases is, we are not going to go back to India. So all that we do is we make our visits more frequent. This is what we can do. Some people may decide to, I won't name him, but there's a student of mine who actually wanted my advice about his mother, who is very old, and she wants him to come back. So we had a long session just recently, and I wanted to find out, are you happy here? How many children do you have, and all that. And I said, you do whatever you want to, but my feeling is, you don't go and change your whole career and go back to there and uproot your family. Just, his mother was like close to 90. I says, that doesn't, I think what you should do is, you should, just have someone to take care of her, pay for that person, and then go visit her as often as you can. Anyway, so this is what called bhogya. And so look at this. Trishu dhamasu yad bhojyam bhokta yascha prakirtitaha. So one who is able to see that in my role as a son or a daughter, I am being given certain experiences and it is affecting me. It is affecting my equilibrium and my questioning whether I should do the right thing. So that is you, those are your thoughts. And the thoughts of your parents is also presented to you. This is a pair. See, this is a pair. And this pair of bhojyam and bhokta is only peculiar to that role. When you're talking to your daughter or son, it's a different thing altogether. Then, when are you coming home, and have you found a good job? How are you getting married? It's a different thing altogether. Different roles altogether. And yet, you are somebody different from it. But our problem is that we flit from one role to the other and never really examine who I am. Who am I? Separate from the role. Am I just a combination of roles? Yes, this is how I take myself to be. Good roles, good experiences, good, and so on. But this is what the truth is. It is exactly like you're going from one movie to the other and you're just playing the parts well, never really pausing to see who am I. Like sometimes, you find these sad stories. Sometimes these actors and actresses, they have problems in their own life. They have medical problems. There is one lady, I forget, I just read it. She has some kind of a cancer. A young woman. Huh?
Bendre.
Yeah. So, this is where her examination of her life will be outside her roles. And so similarly, in that case, it's a kind of a sad thing because she has cancer and so on. But really speaking, there is a certain personality that allows us to play roles but be independent of it. So this is what it is saying. He says, Veda etad ubhayam yastuna bhunjano na lipyate. He said, if you please see that this pair of things, one that is experienced and also the one who is the experiencer. This is a very important thing that we will spend a lot of time on. The fact of the matter is that even myself as what I consider myself to be a person that has a body, that has a mind, and so on, that also is a role. This is the biggest thing. And really, this is the reason they say that this is one of the principal reasons where by you reading a book, nothing happens. This has to be done in person, in a class where the words of a competent teacher reach you. This is the main reason. Why do we say that? This is not what is being talked about. I just brought that in as a commentary. Because what happens is that when you are reading a book, and I'm not talking about reading a book after you have got to know some ideas. Like for example, when I am reading Swami Maheshanandaji's, I'm also reading a book. But my interaction is totally different. Because now my ideas have become so ingrained in me that I can appreciate the nuances of it. And to me, he's like a living teacher. When he's writing, when I read this, I said, my goodness, I can visualize. But if that's not the case, you read some new age book from New York Times or something, and most of them are written by people that really completely do not understand. It's all just to make money and to make themselves well known. Sad. Because first of all, the biggest issue is that most of these books are not appreciating the presence of Ishvara. Now, you cannot do this without the presence of Ishvara. Until, as I said, the Upasya Brahma is very important. Anyway, I'm just going off the subject. So, so for you to understand yourself, you have to see that even you, as you take yourself to be, is also false. How is that going to happen? Not easy. Slowly with teaching and through Shraddha and so on, the words of the Shastra. Because otherwise you say, the whole world is mithya. Yes, I can close my eyes, I don't see it. Yes. But I am for real. So you make a distinction between you and Gaudapada says no. And all Gita, not just Gaudapada. So Tishu Dhamasu Yad Bhojyam Bhokta Yascha Prakirtitaha. Because when you are talking to your parents, your own feelings are also within that role. Has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with your own personality, with your own person, sorry. Anyway, so this is the fifth karika that was talked about. Just a opening to what you have to do to look at the various experiences that you have and how you should analyze and so on. Then karika number 6. Prabhavav sarva bhavanam satamiti vinishchayah sarva janeti pranas cheto amshun purusha prithak. So here what Gaudapada is explaining So what Gaudapada is pointing out here in verse number 6, karika number 6, and I think we'll pause after this, so we won't finish all the karikas, but just to finish this, since we did that, is that the central theme of the Mandukya is that what is observed and experienced has no truth to it. Whereas the consciousness that allows a person to observe is the truth. And you can look at it different ways. Like, for example, there is no real truth in the ornamentation, which is a form. There is truth in the formlessness of the gold. And so this is the central theme of Mandukya. So here in karika number 6, what is pointed out is that please observe that things get started and they end not in nothingness. They do not come out of nothingness. Nothing comes out. This is crucial to the understanding of Vedanta. That any experience comes from something which already is. Nothing new happens. Prabhavah sarva bhavanam satamiti vinishchayah sarvam janayati pranas Cheto amshun purusha prithak. There's some particular things being talked about the nature of the prana, etc., that perhaps we will do next time. But the primary thing being communicated in Karika number 6 is that for anything to be created, it must already be there in a potential form. So Gaudapada ji has decided that at this point needs to be appreciated at this stage when you analyze the three roles, that the potential for the roles is already there. It doesn't come out of nowhere. And so this principle is technically called Satkaryavada, that the effect is pre-existing in the cause. So this is what the Karika number 6 is pointing out, and there are some aspects of it that are also added that we'll do next time, which is pranaha cheto amshun purushaha prithak. That part we'll leave it to next time. But the main thing here in Karika number 6 is the fact that this is called Satkaryavada. That please appreciate that anything which is experienced, it's possible to be in a seed form inside the person already. Anyway, this is somewhat of a technical point, and we will develop it next time. So with that, I'll close today's class. Om Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Kshobarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Second.
There's not a question. You were talking about people writing in New York Times.
Yes.
In that context, Shashi Tharoor has written a book, Why I'm a Hindu.
I see.
The language is very flowery language, but apparently he misses the entire point on Shankara, Vivekananda and Hindutva. Now what will happen is, he knows a lot of people, and people think that what he is saying is Vedavakya. And he is not even a Shotriya, should be a Shotriya at least. And he's completely misguiding,
Yeah.
And he has to do what he's good at, but not talking about Vedanta,
It's interesting you mentioned that, because in this Hindu Community Institute that I'm part of and so on. And so our idea is, and this is a very difficult challenge that we are facing. Our challenge is, how do we define the core of Hinduism, but yet which is accepted by the various sampradayas, including Dvaitins, Advaitins, and so on and so forth? How do we do that? because the part of the problem in understanding Hinduism is that everybody has a particular way of explaining it, and unlike Christianity that has Bible, even Bible is interpreted different ways. Everybody has the same, but we have a particularly huge challenge because it's so deep and so complex. So how do we do this? This is what we want to do, is to have a something. So one of the people who, I won't name him, but there's somebody gave me some ideas, and I looked through some of his writings, and I found that this is not the core of. I offered, and happily it has been accepted, and I started this exercise about 2 weeks ago, of just thinking what is the core of Hinduism. And so I have now circulated it I've sent it to a few people. I sent it to Swami Tattvavidanandaji also, Swami Viditatmanandaji, Swami Swatma Vidyananda Swamini, and a few other people. And I'm now developing it, and so let's see where it goes. Let's see how that goes. But it's the same thinking, is what is Hinduism, what is the core. I'm calling it the core tenets of Hinduism. So let us see how that goes. It's still in the very nascent stage. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
In the sixth Karika verse,
Yes.
When we refer to Shunya Purusha, what does Shunya here mean?
No, it's Amshaha, not Shunya. I don't think so. There's not. It is Amshaha. Where is my? Look at mantra 5. Look at
Shun.
Karika number 6. Just a second. Karika number 6. Okay.
Second line towards the end.
Pranas Chetaha Amshun. It's not Shunyaha. It's the way it is. I'll develop it. It's Amshun Purushaha.
Oh.
Chetaha. And so next time I will write it out and so on and so forth. It's not Shunya. No. Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned that, and in the Karika, that it is the entertainment of the Purush, this, Antarbhok and Vahyabhok and Surbhok. So the purpose of Prakriti or an Atma is entertainment, bhog, and also upward liberation, both.
So yes, the goal of life is Ananda. What is really governing our experiences, our quest, and so on, is Ananda. And for everyone. This is the core of the whole being. Okay? But the bhoga versus liberation that you pointed out, it should be looked upon the following way. The bhoga means immediate gratification now, but not permanent. In other words, you get some temporary satisfaction, but then even for example, supposing you take hunger. So hunger means that you enjoy eating, but that means that very soon, 4 or 5 hours, you will be hungry again. This is called bhoga. Whereas liberation means that you have discovered your own nature to be nothing but ananda, which is the form of bhoga. So that is a timelessness of the bhoga, if you may, which is ananda. which is the liberation. And so in a way, one can say that you can gain satisfaction by just some surfacey problem, just like you have some symptomatic relief. Or you can go to the very disease and try to get that, which takes a little longer time, but that completely eliminates the possibility of the symptom coming up again. So that's how the two aspects of it. But they are all related in the sense that the fundamental part of this is ananda. So either it's temporary ananda or permanent ananda. That's all.
Is it then that it is an evolution that you don't get satisfied with impermanent and you want the permanent? And when you come to understand or
Yes, you can say that. Yes, that is really we are looking for a ultimate home, but in the meantime we are wandering around, and we can make a temporary stop and feeling I'm not there at home, but at least I'm okay for the time being. But there is far to go. So in that case, there is an evolution in the sense that you still have a direction to go to, and when you reach that home, then you're done. So in that sense, yes, there is an evolution. Sorry.
Dissatisfaction, it has to be there, like vairagya or dissatisfaction.
So what that would mean is that right now, in my seeking of the bhoga, I'm dependent on some combination of things happening to me outside. I don't yet realize that I am the very source of the ananda myself. This is a huge issue that I have to figure out. And so until I begin to change directions and to understand that I don't have to, I am the very ananda. So that requires a change of my thinking, my direction, and so on and so forth, which is the discovery of Paramananda. And so this is what we have to do in that manner. But yeah, until that happens, then I am just fooling myself because I'm just getting satisfaction from temporary things here and there, some shravanam, some this, that, or the other. But ultimately, it doesn't really help. I have to really discover that I am the very source of ananda. And Ishvara and me are not any different. And so this is the truth, but not obvious to me. So I have to see it there. Yeah, Kalpana?
So, yeah, I know I am the source of ananda, and then earlier we talked about duality brings dukkha and non-duality brings sukha.
Yeah.
When it comes to vyavahara, let's say your own child, a small child is suffering a lot, and you feel non-dual with them. So their dukkha becomes your dukkha. In that case, how do you handle the situation? And how do you still feel the ananda within yourself?
Yeah. So that is all due to prarabdha. Means that some things have already started, and so I think that dukkha also will play out, and it will, but eventually it will also disappear if you persist in knowing the nature of the ananda and so on. So for instance, I'm just giving you an extreme example, but let's say that there is a person who took sannyasa and is not only a vividisha sannyasi, but is vidvat sannyasi, means he's a jnani, and so on. So let's suppose that the person had a son, or still has a son, but before he took sannyasa, his love for the son is so strong, and his regard for it, that if something should happen to his son, let's say the son had an accident and he died, the dukkha will be extreme for this person. But suppose after the person has taken sannyasa, means that he has given up the responsibility of raising a family and so on. If that person should die after he's taken sannyasa and he's become a vidvat sannyasi, not easy, but supposing you jivan mukta, and he's told that, your son died, he's not going to say, I won't come there. There's nothing to do with it. He'll probably attend the funeral. But his sense of dukkha will be very different. He will say, this is Ishvara. Really, the fact of the matter is that our children are not our children. These are Ishvara's children. We are just taking care of them. But I feel this is mine, and so on. And so one way to have some distance of that is to say, this is Ishvara's children. He's got his own prarabdha. And let me take care of the baby, and so on and so forth. And so there is a insulation of some kind. And just like your own body has some problems and you just suffer through it. It's not a make or break kind of a thing. Similarly, you also take dukkha from someone that you have owned up, and that becomes it will go away after a while. Yeah.
So I have a backup question.
Okay.
What if we try to play the instrumental role because we are a father, we have a son or a daughter, we are given that duty, and we will take best care, whether suffering or happy or other thing. So kind of a drashta bhav, would that help? I mean, developing that kind of practice in a life, would that help us?
So yeah, I think that the drashta bhavam is always it is always useful, no doubt about it. So there are several things that one can do. One is what we were just discussing with Kalpana, which is that having given up the sense of ownership, rather just a helpfulness is one aspect. And the drashta bhavam also is useful in that sense. But if the drashta bhava interferes with my ability to feel that I am needed, supposing somebody says that, please take, I need your help for something, and he says, no, I'm just a drashta. But that's not right, because the vyavahara means that someone is asking for your help and you have to provide that help. So there it has to be careful. But yeah, you're right. Like for example, when you are asleep, then you have no connection with the dukkha. Even with your own body, you don't have any connection. Leave aside somebody else's body. So yes, there is a complete severance of dukkha between you and them. So it's a combination of different things. The drashta bhava is important. I would say generally the most important thing is to bring Ishvara into the life and to say, hey Bhagavan, you take care of the problems. I'll do the best I can. I'm the instrument, and so on and so forth. But really, that's the fact that children that are born from our bodies, they are all the, Swami Chinmay used to say that, all of them say that. They're just like, they come into your life for a while, then you are together for a while, then you separate. You go someplace else, they go someplace else. And the appreciation of, like supposing our children, they have their own personality and their own future. and maybe wish the best for them. And this sense of ownership, you are my son, is not right. You can, anyways, I think the bringing Ishvara into it, he's the owner of everyone. Let the owner take care of it. I'll help as much as I can. That is the best way to, I think, deal with problems. Okay, thank you.